Well, welcome everyone to our Lay Servant Ministries Instructor Training. We are so excited that you are interested in Lay Servant Ministries and how you can be a part of this vital ministry as one of our instructors. So we will go ahead and get started with just a quick look at the agenda and the topics we'd like to go over today. I'll go over some welcome and instructions, and then we'll talk about what lay servant ministry is, how to choose a lay servant ministry class topic, coordinate with your district director of lay servant ministry, and then what to do when the class is over. So in terms of who's all going to be talking here today, I'll start with myself. My name is Robin Kelby, and I am the Southwest District lay leader. And I use they, them pronouns, and I'm really excited to help to organize bringing more of our folks together across the conference. So I'll hand it off to, let's see, Joe is next in my list of participants.
All right. Hi. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Hilke, and I'm the Northeast Director of Lay Servant Ministries, and I will be going over some of the basics. We're going to also start, and we're also going to go through some of the history of Lay Servant Ministries to kind of give you a little bit of background, and I think that helps to frame up the rest of our conversation. So welcome, everybody. Glad to see you here.
Next up, let's go to Barbara.
Hello, I'm Barbara Hill, the Northwest District Director of Lay Servant Ministries, and I am just so excited that this training has come about thanks to Robin and Joe. It is so much needed, and I think you'll enjoy it.
And now Nancy.
Welcome to the Lay Ministry Training session. I want to thank you for your interest in the Lay Servant Lay Speaker program. I am Nancy Schmeg, and I'm the director of the North Central District. And while still very much learning the ins and outs of being a director, I have been involved with the Lay Speaker program since 2001, when I took my basic class in Melrose from the now retired Pastor Jim Bierkest. Pastor Jim ignited within my heart a desire to become further involved with the lay ministry program. I found myself taking classes whenever they became available within a reasonable distance of our home. I did not wait for every 3 years. From the very beginning, I could see the benefits of the lay ministry program by enriching the life of the students, by furthering our learning of our Lord. Continuing, the benefit is that it offers assistance to our pastors and our churches, and even in my home church, which is a small congregation of around 60 people, we had 2 certified lay speakers, and our pastors, 3 in total since we've been in the lay ministry program, have all been grateful to have had the lay servants within our congregation. We've provided pulpit supply, and along with other leadership roles, and our willingness to serve our churches. And I guess I would say most importantly is to further our love of and service to our Heavenly Father. Personally, I think it makes God smile, for he loves when his people have the desire to draw near to the heart of our Lord. I've had numerous times and have called the lay ministry program, I have numerous times called this lay ministry program a win-win-win, win-win-win. So thank you, and glad you made it tonight.
Amen. Well, thank you, Nancy. All right. There we go. So the first thing that I want to point us to is that we have turned this training into a whole web page that's on the conference website. So this will be something that, in addition to this recording, you'll be able to look back on in order to refresh your memory on how things work and who does what. So please check that out whenever you have a chance.
All right. So we're going to start out this evening kind of talking a little bit about what are lay servant ministries. Lay servant ministries are a cooperation and partnership between our laity and our clergy. much like we are a very connectional service within the United Methodist Church, that too also applies to lay servant ministries. And as you can see up on your screen there, it's really a program that we are offering and that was provided for by the 2012 Book of Discipline to provide training opportunities and experiences for our laity in particular to equip them to help make disciples of Jesus Christ and to also to realize and respond to their personal call in the area of laity. Next slide, please. So before we get into what's going on here currently, I just want to take a little bit of a step back, and I wanted to talk a little bit about some history of the Lay Servant Ministries program. Now, before 2012, the program that existed was a lay speaker program where individuals would take a class, and at that time, they would become a lay speaker. In 2012, the rules changed under the Book of Discipline, and the new program called Lay Servant Ministries was put into effect. And that also includes certified lay speakers. Now, I just want to talk about this for just a moment. You may have individuals within your congregations that say, hey, I've been around for a lot longer than 2012. I became a lay speaker back in 2008. And so where am I now? What am I doing? What does that mean for me? Well, what it means is, as I mentioned, the rules did change. And what that means is that people who may have been lay speakers in the past may no longer be lay speakers. They may either be lay servants or they may be certified lay servants, or they could be working their way to a certified lay speaker, what is now called the Certified Lay Speaker Program. And we're going to get into a little bit more of those details in just a few minutes. But I just ask that you be sensitive to that, because some individuals do feel that when you say, well, you're a lay servant and not a lay speaker, there might be some individuals in your congregations that are feeling like something maybe was taken away from them. But helping them to go through this process, helping them to understand the furthering education requirements, I think would go a long way. So what you see on your screen right now is the definitions of 3 of the lay servant ministries. If an individual takes the basic class, and by the basic class, I mean the one in which they use this book, and this is the one that's required for the basic class. It's called Lay Speaking Ministries. It's written by Sandy Ziegler Jackson with Brian Jackson. This is the book that they should be using for the basic class. So individuals who may have been in the lay servant ministries before this book was written and introduced, I would encourage them to go back and take this basic class with using this resource. It's really an excellent, excellent book. The next topic that you see there is the certified lay servant. And this definition of a certified lay servant is a person who has taken a basic class, plus they have taken one advanced level class. Upon doing that, they become a certified lay servant. And to become a certified lay speaker, the individual must take the basic class, plus they must take 6 advanced level courses. And these courses must be in specific topic areas, which I'm going to address in just a moment. Next. Now, some of you, if you were at the annual conference recently, you may have heard me speak about the Certified Lay Minister program. Currently, there is no process for this certification in the Wisconsin Conference, but I have a wonderful team that I'm working with that is helping to implement the Certified Lay Minister program here in the state of Wisconsin. And we have 2 of our test team members that are on our call tonight. We have Robin Kelby and Barbara Hill are both on that task force and working on it diligently to get this put into place. Our goal is to have this program up and running by the end of 2023, and we're well on our way to meeting that goal. And I am very confident that we will meet that. To be a certified lay minister, it is going to require additional training over and above the training I referred to just a moment ago. And it also would include interviews by the District Committee on Ordained Ministry. The final approval for an individual to become a certified lay servant falls with the Conference Board of Laity. So what is a certified lay minister? A certified lay minister is a professing member of a local church or charge. They must be baptized or a baptized participant of a recognized United Methodist collegiate ministry or other United Methodist ministry setting who wishes to serve their church, their community, or the world and is ready to do so. One thing to always remember about a certified lay servant is they are laity. They are not clergy. These individuals are well informed, they're committed to the scriptures and doctrine, heritage, the organization, and to the life of our United Methodist Church. They receive specialized training in witnessing to the Christian faith through spoken communication in the church and community leadership, as well as in various caregiving ministries. And I'll talk about that as well in a little while. And they actively support the local church or charge. These individuals may be assigned by a district superintendent to serve in very, very specific roles. And one thing about the Certified Lay Servant program is they also, like the other lay servants, must have an advanced lay servant course every 3 years. And this applies both to lay servant ministers as well as lay servants. So what does a certified lay servant do? First of all, they do serve either a local church or charge or beyond in ways in which his or her witness and leadership and service inspires others to a deeper commitment to Christ. They also can provide leadership in within your congregation, where they assist and support the church or other United Methodist ministries and outside organizations. They can help the clergy by leading meetings for prayer and training and discussion because they're so equipped and trained to do so. They can also conduct or assist in the conducting of worship, preaching the word or giving addresses. And they may also provide congregational and community leadership to foster caring ministries, might be in a food shelter or other caring ministries in your community. A certified lay servant may also assist with the distribution of the elements of Holy Communion as requested by the pastor if you need some additional assistance to do that. And last, they can help teach the scriptures. They can do training. They can help other members of your congregation with doctrine, organization, and ministries of the United Methodist Church. So a lay speaker is a certified person who is a lay servant that is called and equipped to serve the pulpit in pulpit supply. And this specifically applies to a lay speaker. They are called to help churches, and they could not only serve in your local congregation, but they may be called to serve in other areas as well, in other congregations if there's a need for a pulpit supply for a short-term absence by a pastor for vacation, or if they're being called, they have to go to training, or if they're absent because of an illness. Certified lay speakers are there to help with that need. So let's just kind of go through a little bit about the lay speaker training. To be a certified lay speaker, the individual first has to have the basic class. That is the foundation on which all of this program relies. So it's very important that the individual goes through that basic class. And it really is helpful if they do that first, because it helps to make sense of the rest of these classes. Then the certified lay speaker is a program which has 6 foundational pillars that support each and every certified lay speaker. And these are the required advanced lay servant classes that an individual must take in order to become a certified lay speaker. They have to take the class in United Methodist history, in polity, in preaching, leading worship, spiritual gifts, and prayer. Now, these classes can be taken in any order. There's no specific prerequisite to take this class before you take this class. Although some of the classes, such as history, it is helpful if you take that before polity, but it's not required. Once an individual goes through and takes all of these classes, the next step in the process is to interview with one of the district directors of Lay Servant Ministries. This is a relatively short interview, but it really helps the director to get a feel for the individual's desire and needs and what they're looking for as part of their service to the church. And once they go through that and successfully complete that, they can become a certified lay speaker. Now, once they go through the classes and they go through the interview with the director of Lay Servant Ministries for your appropriate district, one of the questions that each of the district directors ask these candidates is whether or not they're willing to speak and serve congregations other than their home congregation. Now, most of our individuals that go through this program would agree to that and say, yes, I would be willing to serve in a pulpit if I'm needed in another church, whether it be in my community, it might be out a little bit outside my community, but I'm really willing to do that if there's a need to fill a pulpit on a specific Sunday. However, there are some of our people who go through the lay servant ministry class or the lay servant speaker program who really that is not something that they're really willing to do. They may want to serve only in their own church. And that is completely acceptable and understandable. So if that's what they want, that's what we record as part of that interview. If an individual says that they want to be, that they're willing to go to other churches, their name goes on a list that is published to the Wisconsin Annual Conference so that any church can call the Wisconsin Annual Conference and look at as far as help to get an individual to fill a pulpit. So they will maintain that record for the entire Wisconsin Conference. But each of our district directors, we maintain our own lists. And so we have a list of those individuals who are certified lay speakers, who have gone through all of the training and they've gone through the interview and also are willing or not willing to serve in other pulpits. So we have that recorded as well. So you can always talk to one of the your district directors of Lay Servant Ministries, and we'd be glad to help you in any way we can. Thanks, Robin. Next. So at this point, are there any questions that anyone has regarding lay servant versus lay speaker? Hearing none, I must have done an okay job of explaining that. All right. So the one thing that we get asked frequently are, where are the classes and this is where you come in to the program. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Barbara, and she's going to answer these thought-provoking questions. So Barbara, take it away.
I'm going to try anyway. So who can teach a lay servant ministry class? Well, really and truly, any laity within your church can do it. The district director of Lay Servant Ministries approves the instructors for the classes, but absolutely, laity can teach classes. Now, the district directors will reach out to their pastor or the church just to make sure that they have the support that you need. Next slide. Choosing a lay servant ministry class topic. Well, lay servant ministry courses are much more than a traditional Bible study or other leadership training. Class topics that have already been approved can be found in the Lay Servant Ministry Resource Catalog and the Upper Room Catalog. And the classes include, and I'm just going to list all of these, Spiritual Gifts and United Methodist Beliefs. Now, those are the first two that are advanced. Devotional Life in the Wesleyan Tradition, Class Leaders, Accountable Discipleship, and Transforming Evangelism. Now, United Methodist Polity and Leading Worship are two more of the advanced courses. Planning Worship, Leading Public Prayer, and Preaching, those two, Leading Public Prayer and Preaching, are the last two of the 6. But they can also take Justice in Everyday Life, Lay Servants as Christians Transformational Leaders, Leading Missional Small Groups, Lay Pastoral Caregiving, Leading Bible Study, Conflict Resolution, Biblical Storytelling, Aging and Ministry. Oh, there's so much more that they could take. Next. Now, the catalog can be accessed by going to umcdiscipleship.org. This is the Discipleship Ministries website, and you can download this catalog for free on your computer, but if you'd rather have a hard copy, you can purchase it. It is very helpful. Next slide. So what if I want to teach a topic that hasn't been approved? Well, that is possible. However, it could take a significant amount of time and is not guaranteed to be approved. Let me explain. Proposed lay servant ministry classes must fit the following guidelines. Subject is in line with courses in the lay servant ministry catalog. The content is within the theme of leading, caring, and communicating. The course benefits the lay servant and speaker for use in the local church. It has to be at least 10 hours of study, and the class format is participatory and led by a facilitator qualified in that subject. Next slide. Annual conference can approve additional courses on a case-by-case basis. Our Conference Board of Laity receives and processes such class proposals. So if you contact your district director of lay servant ministry, specifically for a class topic that is not currently approved, that person will present it to the CBOL, the Conference Board of Laity. Please note that while these classes can count as an advanced course, they do not count as one of the 6 advanced classes that are required for the lay servant certification that I had mentioned in the previous slide and that Joe had mentioned. They would not count as those, any one of those, but they could be taken as an advanced course. Yes, next slide.
Barbara, can I just interject something for a second?
Yes.
Yes, as a Conference Board of Laity, we can approve additional topics. For example, we have one coming up in the state of Wisconsin, and this is my shameless plug, but we have a Fresh Expressions training that is going to be coming up at the end of September, September 30th and October 1st, here in the Sheboygan area, which was approved by the Conference Board of Laity as an advanced exception class. But since it was approved, that means that it would be applicable to individuals who are looking to be certified as lay servants or going on and looking at their requirement that they have to meet every 3 years, this class would be approved for that, and they would receive credit. So it definitely is possible. So if you have a class that you're looking for or would like to have that is a little bit outside of the ones that you see in the catalog, but you believe are important for your church or your community, please talk to your local district director. Thanks, Barb.
Oh, Joe, that's a perfect example. That really is. That's a great example of one that went through the process to be approved and was approved. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. So how to plan a lay servant ministry course? Well, first of all, select the topic. Get an approval again if the course is not included. And then go ahead and choose your textbook and other materials. Choose the course location or your host site. Schedule the 10 hours and determine the cost of the course per participant. Now, I'm going to go into each of these in the next couple of slides a little bit more specifically, so that'll help answer your questions. So choosing the textbook. Okay, this is an example of one advanced course. And as you can see right here, that's the Leader's Guide. And it's about $5 maybe. And this is the Participant's Guide. Well, no, I read that wrong. It's about $7.99 if you order it hard copy, and about $13 if you order it hard copy. So kind of keep that in mind. If you have more than one, if you have a co-facilitator, you might want to get 2 of the Leader's Guides, but you'll need enough of the participant book for every person. Where will you hold your class? Will your class be in person, on Zoom, or both? I really have to interject here. If at all possible, please try to do them both hybrid. If you have the internet capabilities of doing that. And the reason I say that, I have so many people within the Northwest District that live so far away from a place, and it would be very difficult for them to physically get there, but they could probably do it via Zoom. So think about that if that's a possibility that you can do.
And if I may interject here, Barbara,
Yes.
that is something that, it can be really tough to have a hybrid course, because if you're trying to teach to the people in person as well as trying to keep the Zoom going, that can be a lot. So maybe see if there's somebody that either from your church or from a neighboring church could help you with the technological side, if that's something that's needed. And if you are really struggling to find folks to help with that, reach out to your district director, and they may have some ideas of folks that can help as well. Because if you have a class that's hybrid, it can open it up to the entire conference.
Yes.
And that's a really wonderful thing to be able to offer.
And along that line, that could be where you might want to have a co-facilitator. That could be one of the reasons, is for that person to be in charge of the Zoom class. So there's ways that you can think about it. Next, please. Okay, choosing the schedule. Okay, in order for the LSM course to meet the requirements, as we mentioned before, the participants must attend at least 10 contact hours, meeting together as a group, whether it's on Zoom or in person. They have to complete the 10 hours. And those 10 hours can be arranged pretty much your schedules. I've had people do it on a Friday night and a Saturday morning and afternoon. So basically one weekend, and they provided a meal between the Saturday morning and the Saturday afternoon class. Or I've had other ones that did it 2 Saturday afternoons. That might be good for your church, especially with winter coming somewhere down the road. I'm not hurrying it up, but they may not want to travel at night. They may want to meet during the day. Or you can do 5 weekly 2-hour sessions. So you've got some flexibility there based on your schedule and based on your community. You know your community. Now, we ask you to please plan your course at least 6 weeks in the future. So this is the end of July. If you're thinking about doing a course in September, please let your district director of lay servant ministries know at least in August, because there are things we have to do to prepare to get you ready for that class. For instance, we've got to put it on the conference website. So that's just one of the things we have to do. So if you're thinking about September, let us know first part of August. Give us at least 6 weeks. Choosing the cost. It's important that our course instructors are compensated for their time, preparation, and gifts. So you might want to take that into consideration when you choose how much the course is going to cost. Let me give you an example. I've had a lot of pastors charge $20 for the participant fee. Well, that covers the book, and it also helps cover any other costs, such as a meal. If you decide to do it on a Friday night and all day Saturday, there's going to be a bit of a meal cost, or any other course materials or supplies. So think about it that way. Now, you might have some people within your church that $20 is hard for them. You might come up with another alternative to help. So kind of be thinking along that line. Does anybody have any questions? I will turn it over to Nancy. Nancy, you're muted.
Sorry. This information that I'll be presenting will be that once you have decided to host a class, that you will need to get to your district director so that we can advertise the class, answer any questions you may have regarding the class, and also gather the information of the students for record keeping and to generate certificates upon completion of the class. This might vary slightly from district to district, and all the information is on the district website. Number one, the course name. And if you haven't chosen a course, the required classes again are United Methodist Heritage, United Methodist Polity, Preaching, Leading Prayer, Discovering Spiritual Gifts, Leading Worship. And again, there are other classes available and can be taught, but keep in mind that they do not qualify for a class every 3 years. They do not qualify it as a required class for certified lay servants status or certified lay speaker status. Next is the instructor's names and contact information, phone number, email address, church address, course location, and the location address indicate if the class will be taught in person, online, or both. And then number 4 is the course dates and times. Classes have to be required 10 hours of study, as we mentioned before. They're also they give a little bit of credit for maybe some pre-class study time too. So number 5 is the course book. Include the name, the author, the location of how to order that book, their number, any cost, if it's available on Cokesbury or from the upper room, and then the links to get that book. Also, number 6 is the course cost per participant. Indicate where participants should send payment if it's required ahead of time, or if they can make payment on the very first day of their class. And then number 7, the deadline to register for that course. And then number 8, any other course logistics that should be included when promoting these courses. That would be like if there's going to be meals provided, if the participants will need to purchase course books or other materials themselves. Also, with the back to the meals, if they are not going to provide a meal, they could let us know. Are there going to be restaurants nearby where they could purchase food on their own then? So, and then so also back to if the participants need to purchase a course book or other materials themselves, or if there's any pre-class assignments that they want to have done ahead of time to get started right when they show up for class, then if they it is helpful if they have information on places to order that book, the name, the author, the cost, and any ordering information. So a helpful guide for the class planning may be found in that Lay Ministries catalog. Mine here that I have is the 2001. They haven't changed much. I did try to order a new book the other day from the upper room. I did a little bit of battle with the upper room people. You can no longer order that over the phone as you used to be able to do in the past. And I was redirected to the Discipleship Ministries, where you can order the 2003. And as Barbara said, you can get a free copy if you just want to download it there. Otherwise, you can order a catalog, but you got to order a minimum of 25 of them. They are free, however, but they do charge for shipping. So I do plan to order them. And if anybody needs, I can, once I do get them, I can send one on to you. But I was questioning whether with the year 2023, almost half over, maybe perhaps waiting until the new 2024 one does come out. So finally, the district director then, what we're responsible for once we get all your information from you. Excuse me, I got my notes hung up here in front of me. So after receiving the course information from you, the director will double check to make sure it does meet the lay speaking ministry requirements. And the district director will post that course on the Wisconsin Conference website. The course will be visible on the conference calendar as well as the lay ministry servants' upcoming trainings. The district director will handle registrations for your course, providing the list of participants prior to the class to the instructor. Information that is needed from the student will be their name, their email contact, phone, class requested, church student, the church that the student attends, the church address, and as well as the course location and the location's address. Indicate then if the class will be taught in person, online, or both. The course dates and times. Classes have been required that 10 hours of study. And again, they do give a little leeway there for any pre-class studies so that you do for the course. And then the course book include the name, author, and whether it's available in Cokesbury or upper room and that link. The course cost participant indicate where participants should send payment again, or if they can be made on that first day of class training. The deadline then to register for the course and any other course logistics that should be included when promoting the class is if meals are provided, and if not, is there any establishment nearby. If the participants need to purchase course books or other material themselves, or if there are any pre-class assignments, again, it is helpful to have that information, places to order the book, the name, the author, the cost, and ordering information. A helpful guide for class planning can be found in that catalog that we just talked about. So, and so then, again, I thank you for your time and for your willingness to make the lay servant ministry strong and fruitful in our state. And I now will turn you back over to Joe Hilke. So,
Before we do that, Paula has a great comment say that, you know, with your location, if it's in person, it's also helpful to include if the location is handicapped accessible, which can be important for a lot of our folks.
All right. Well, thank you, Nancy. Now we're going to talk about, once the class is over, kind of some of the things that happened after the class is completed. Once the class is completed, each instructor is going to be will need to send us, that is the district director of Lay Servant Ministries, a list of all the participants who successfully completed the course. That means they've attended all the classes, they came prepared, and they participated in discussions or the activities, because it's really important that they meet those 10 hours of contact hours. So it's really up to the instructors, because they're the ones who are going to know the best who actually completed that program. So each of the district directors, we actually maintain spreadsheets of individuals who are taking these classes, what church they come from, and what classes they have taken and when, and who was the instructor for those classes. One of the things that each of the participants will receive upon completion of the class is a certificate of completion. And those certificates can be found, you can see here on the slide, and you'll be getting a copy of the slide, so you will have this, this link. And this is a link to the certificate that you see up on the screen, which is a fillable form, which you can fill out and can be presented to the candidates. Now, there's a couple of ways to do that. As district directors, we are very happy to help work with you. We can either print and sign the certificate, print and, you know, make available for you to sign their certificates, and then we can send them out to the participants' churches so they can be presented by their pastor in front of their congregations. However, that's a lot of going back and forth. Another way that, as an alternative, which we found works best here in our district, is that the certificates are actually prepared and assigned and made available and presented to the participants at the end of the last class. That really kind of avoids a lot of the going back and forth, because it does require the instructor's signature. So it's another way of handling it as an alternative. And then we can always let their home pastor know that the individual has completed a course. If the pastor does want to recognize that individual in front of the congregation. But once again, one of the things that I would offer as a suggestion is, please make sure that the individual that is being presented is comfortable with that. Some people are not comfortable with having that kind of recognition done in front of others. So you, as their pastor, would be in the best position to know that. So I just ask that you keep that in the back of your mind. In addition, we ask that you all course leaders, that you remind the participants to hold on to these certificates. It's very, very important that they keep them for their records. And one of the reasons being, is that each candidate, if they progress through the process and they get up to be a certified, and they are seeking certification as a lay speaker, the district director is going to ask them to provide copies of all of these certificates of completion to verify that these individuals have in fact completed all the classes. And one of the reasons we do that is because individuals do change districts from time to time. And so that may happen, or they may change churches. So it's really, really important to do that. In addition, if you're a pastor or someone in an administrative area of one of our churches, please make sure that this information is entered into Brick River. That's the software, the conference-wide software that is used at each church in charge conference, where you put a lot of your statistical reporting in. But it's really important that this information of the classes attended by the participants is included in that, uploaded into that system as well, because that way it's another way of tracking individuals who are taking classes. So please make sure your certified lay servants are filling out that report, because that should be reviewed by each church in charge conference and approved every year. So is there any questions about that? All right. Thank you. Robin, turn it back over to you.
All right, so now is our question time, and I have a good one to start us off from Nan, who is asking if any time consideration can be given for outside projects given as part of the class. So looking to fill those, how do you fill those 10 contact hours? How does that work?
I guess you're looking for somebody to, to answer that question.
Yeah, I'm just curious how you all
take,
weigh in.
I'll take a stab at it, although I'm pretty new at this process myself. My understanding is that these need to be contact hours, that this isn't the 10 hours is contact hours. It's really not designed or for someone to work on a a project by themselves, or spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours of reading as preparation for the class, and that counts towards the class. It's really important, and they refer to contact hours. So I'm kind of reading into that it really is people working together. And I suppose there could be an argument made that if they're working on a project, a group project outside of the class, that might be considered. But I would be very careful about that doesn't become the major part of the class, that becomes 8 of the 10 hours of the class or something to that effect. I think if it was on a smaller number of hours, maybe 2 hours or something, that might be deemed acceptable. But I think it would be hard pressed for the district directors to approve something that would be much greater than that, because it really is about people coming together and working together. That's why it's referred to as contact hours. So
yeah, Joe, I agree with you. Nan, would you mind giving us an example maybe of what you were thinking?
Well, let's see, let me get here. For instance, in history class that we have taught in the past,
Okay.
part of the homework between the 2 classes was to do a detailed presentation on the history of the person's home church. And this is something that for many people took a considerable amount of time.
Okay.
We gave them a credit, no matter how much time over this, we gave them a credit of like an hour and a half or 2 hours for project time, even though many of the people in that particular class spent 6 or more hours on their projects.
Right. So you basically gave them like 11 or 12 hours of credit. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Is that what you're saying or not? Or did you? No, more like 8 hours and then an hour and a half of. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah, because, you can schedule a class for 10 hours, but, if the weather gets bad or whatever, you might have to cut some time short. And we were able to supplement that time with project time so that they still had their 10 hours.
Okay. Okay. I understand.
I would encourage the instructors of the program that's really going to be something that each instructor is going to have to monitor. I would just encourage those instructors to be mindful of the kind of homework they're giving individuals, that they aren't going to have to require 10 hours worth of time outside of class. But, you know, try to think of homework assignments that not only fit with the subject matter, but kind of keep that to a minimum, because you know, my understanding is it's really about those contact hours. So, but the 1.5 to 2 hours is probably going to be good.
I have a similar question, and that is about absences. If you have a class that has 5 different 2-hour sessions and someone can't make one, how do you make it up?
Well, that's a really good question. I think that becomes much more challenging if the program is like 2 days, 2 5-hour days. And if a person misses an entire 5 hours or half of the class, if they were to miss that much class, unfortunately, I think the answer would be that they would have to retake the class at a future time if they're not able to do that.
Mhm.
If the class was 5 2-hour sessions, that might be something that would be a little more flexible, where an individual might be able to catch up and do the reading for that 2-hour program. But most of our classes, at least that I've seen in our conference, really are like 2-day classes. Most of them that I've seen anyway, that are either like 6 hours one day and 4 hours, or 5 and 5. Rarely have I seen a class that goes 5 2-hour days. Although I'm not saying it hasn't happened, it's just more of the rarity, I think.
And I think, Jim, to also, maybe that's another reason to try to do hybrid, because we all understand we could get sick and miss the class, but if we can get on Zoom, that's an option.
Yes.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Nan had another question, but asking what we meant by like pre-course study. I think that would be like, you know, if there's a required textbook, making sure that's read prior to class. Is that along the lines of what you had, Nancy? Oh, you're muted again. Sorry.
I was just typing an answer to her. But I guess what I was thinking of that time is we really only had scheduled 9-hour classes, but they said that because there was preparation time there, they allowed for the students that did qualify because of the time they spent in getting ready for the class with their study time. So.
Mhm. I've had instructors that what they will do is say there's 10 chapters to a book. Usually these books are not very large, but maybe there's 10 chapters, and the instructor, as part of the course materials or the advertising for the class, has asked the class to come prepared reading the first 5 chapters of the book before they attend the first class. And then between this first and the second class, they're asked to read the second 5 chapters, completing the book, so they come prepared to the class for discussion. It really helps the process to move along, and it's really beneficial for the instructors, I believe, when it's done that way, rather than purchasing a book and then individuals aren't reading it until after the class. I don't think they get as much out of it as if they do it the other way. But that's really up to each individual instructor as far as what their recommendations are for the class that they're teaching.
I know we're getting close to 8 o'clock here. Are there any final questions before we move on? Well, we look pretty quiet. So
How did Robin, how did we do in the chat? I wasn't seeing all of them, but do we have any other questions in the chat that we need to answer?
nope. There was one early on asking if participants should order their own book or if the instructor should do it for them. So it just really depends on what works best. just make sure that whoever's ordering it, they have enough time to actually read it before the class, or as much as the instructor says that they should, the first half, quarter, whatever. We've been keeping up. This has been great. I want to thank all of our instructors and our participants. It's been really great to be able to hear from you guys and to be able to have this training so that it can be a bit less scary to figure out how you teach these classes and really what this program is about. And we welcome your feedback. If there's any support that you need as an instructor, any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to your district directors. You can find our information on the conference website on the CBOL leadership page, and they'll be happy to help. All right. Let's see. Shoot, I don't think I actually am sharing sound. Would anybody like to share in a closing prayer? I'm going to volunteer Joe because I think he does a good job.
Well, thanks, Robin. All right, let's be in a time of prayer. Heavenly God, we come to you this day, and we thank you for all of these individuals that were present here this evening. And we ask that you be with them and all of the individuals within the Wisconsin Conference that are helping to grow and to make disciples of our Lord Jesus Christ through providing training and other additional experiences, because we know how valuable that is. And we know that wherever two or more are gathered in your name, you are amongst us. So not only are you here with us this evening, we know that you are with each and every person that attends each and every one of our classes. So we ask that you continue to bless the participants, the instructors, the pastors, and everyone else that's involved with our lay servant ministry program. Help to make it stronger and better, and please provide us the guidance that is necessary. And we ask all these things in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right. There's more music. Well, thank you so much for being here. We very much appreciate your time with us.
There is a question. There is one more question. Mary asked how we got a copy of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, so if you have emailed me saying that you're going to be here tonight, then I have your email address on a very long email that I'm going to send out with the recording once that's posted on the conference YouTube page, as well as this PowerPoint. So if you have not emailed me at robinkelby@gmail.com, then please do, and I'd be happy to send it to you. But pretty much all the information is on the Plan LSM Trainings webpage as well. So there's that where you can see immediately.
And please do not hesitate to reach out to any one of our district directors. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you in any way we can and support you in helping us with the Lay Servant Ministries program. So please watch the conference website later this year as we put up information regarding the Certified Lay Minister program. That's an exciting new endeavor, which is going to take us into great things in the future, and we're very excited about it. So I know a lot of our people in our congregations are excited as well. So watch for further information about that.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.